How to differentiate a spiritual experience from a psychotic episode.
As it happens, I came across a Jungian answer to your question while reading yesterday, in a book by Marie-Louise von Franz. I will find it for you. I often say to schizoid people that their madness does not consist in what they see and believe, but in telling it to the wrong people. If they kept it to themselves, it would be all right. I have, for example, a borderline case of a woman who goes to every psychiatrist and accuses them all of being idiotic rationalists who do not believe in God, and she tells them her visions. I think her only mistake is in telling these people, for that is simply being unadapted. Her visions are quite all right, and also what she thinks about them, but her extrovert feeling is inferior, she is socially unadapted. From Alchemy, An Introduction to the Symbolism and the Psychology, page 25.
I continually disclosed the mystic experiences I had experienced in my life, which lead me to be on antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, benzos, formed a dandy little dependency for 7 years, and antidepressants, plus the addition of many diagnoses to my file. This lasted until 2018, when I had a profound mystic experience and started working inwardly. I spent time reducing all medications and now only take an antidepressant. I lost the years between 16 and 28 to a haze of medication, but it kept me semi-functional until I stumbled across transpersonal psychology. Now I'm studying to become a transpersonal art therapist, and through continually learning and growing I have been stable, relatively since 2018. Now, I only disclose to a small number of people, who do not base the entirety of their understanding of the world on the mainstream narrative. Please note, I do not condemn the use of medication but do believe it to be overprescribed.
I had an Air Force psychiatrist decide that I'm schizophrenic because I told him about a dream I had in which my father opened my head with a can opener and poured stuff inside. I may have a mental illness, but I also have a master's degree in English, and I recognize a metaphor when I encounter one. Dear doctor, what that dream meant was that my father forcefully, brutally, imposed his ideas on me when I was a child. I think Jung and Marie-Louise von Franz would have easily recognized the dream's meaning. I am, by the way, bipolar, but I manage it pretty well.
Not totally a Jungian take, but I am heavily influenced by his work on archetypes. Psychotic episodes often have yourself as the pivotal piece and are decidedly egocentric. I.e., a messiah complex where you believe you have privileged access to the Creator and can speak to others on their behalf. Or believing there is some sort of conspiracy, aliens, CIA, angels, etc., specifically targeting you in either a positive or negative way. Either way, the fantasy puts you in a position of power and control, because it's trying to fix the panic/fear of loss of control from whatever precipitated the episode. Spiritual experiences are generally more opening and ego-dissolving. More of a blending between self and other, ego death, rather than rigidly defining the relationship between the two, ego. That's not to say there can't be a pushback from the ego as the experience fades though, which is why psychoactive drugs like psychedelics can trigger these episodes in certain people predisposed to them. There can also be crossover between the two for that above reason. A mystical/spiritual experience can be a trigger for a psychotic episode in certain people.
It is similar to how we categorize addiction imho. Everybody is addicted to water, for example. But it's not a big deal in most cases. We adapted our infrastructure to accommodate our water addiction perfectly. You can shower, drink, use a toilet whenever you want, and it causes hardly any inconvenience. If the water supply to a city somehow was cut, we would really see how desperately we are in need of this substance. I would categorize psychosis as a misconception about reality that causes rather major inconvenience in a person's life and surroundings and causes them to act irrational. I would say almost any belief about reality is a misconception. But most people don't start acting irrational about it. Although it is highly dependent on the cultural paradigm what is considered irrational belief or behavior. For example, I would argue that people are matter/the universe just as much as air, planets, or stars are. So in a sense, when we go around telling our birth-given name, it is like the universe having multiple personality disorder. But since we can produce a piece of paper and print a name on it, it is generally accepted that we are some human going by the name written on the paper. So the belief of being an individual human does not cause any inconvenience/stress in our environment, and is accepted as cultural norm. It's not the best example, but I think you can understand what I'm trying to say. It's similar to this story where only one guy had normal water that wouldn't make you crazy. But everyone else drank the crazy water and started saying normal guy is crazy. So he drank the crazy water to be normal.